community. So good to see you on this Tuesday evening. Sarah Brown Wessling here, and I can't wait to introduce you to Darby here in just a second, but we are here to help do our part to celebrate this amazing week of love teaching. But before we talk about that, I want to introduce this wonderful face to you. Darby Valenti is joining us tonight for our version of Candy Hearts and Chocolates. She's a 5th grade teacher at Minnie Klein Elementary School in Savannah, Missouri, and she's also the 2017 Missouri State Teacher of the Year. Hi, Darby.
Hi, Sarah. Thanks for having me tonight. I'm excited to kick off Love Teaching Week and honored to be here with you tonight.
Yeah, it's so good to have you here. So good to have you here. So for those of you out there who don't know about Love Teaching, we're going to just give you a quick little background on it. And I just have to tell you the story of how this got started is super cool. A few years ago, there was a lot of press kind of around people leaving the profession and a lot of momentum around people leaving the profession. So 3 of our colleagues, Sean, Tom, and Gary, got together and they said, hey, we need to do something. And so they came up with this hashtag Love Teaching. They launched it over Valentine's week. And the idea is that we celebrate what we most love about this profession. Which is exactly what we're here to do and what we are so excited, of course, for the teacher-to-teacher community. For those of you who've joined us before, you know how this goes. We chat, we talk, we welcome your questions. We can't wait to, wave at you virtually and see what you have to share with us. Those of you who are maybe joining us for the first time, make sure you send those questions to us in the chat box below, and we'll try to answer those as we go. Darby, are you ready?
I'm ready.
All right. So February, we're teachers. We know what February means. It's cold and it's gray. But the other day I was tromping through the snow here in Iowa, taking some photos, and I am just absolutely sure I saw a little tiny of green on a bud. I'm just positive of it. So in other words, the seasons will change, right? So no matter how cold or how gray or how February it feels right now, they're going to change. And there is nothing that helps to take away that February chill more than talking about what we love about this work. So I wanted to jump in with, actually, this is my question, because I wanted to ask Darby this question. And so I just wanted to make sure we got to do this one. All good love stories start with the origin story, right? Like, how did you fall in love, right? What's the story? So Darby, I just want to know, what's your story? How did you fall in love with teaching?
Well, it definitely didn't happen my first week of teaching. My first week of teaching was greeted by a concerned parent 2 different times saying how her child used to love school and all of a sudden didn't like it anymore, didn't want to come to school, was always crying. And come to find out, she ended up being hospitalized later in the week. We found out she was diabetic and she was a very sick little girl. And I am 4 days into my teaching career and I have $27 because we know how destitute you are until you get that first paycheck. And
yeah.
I didn't know quite what to do, but I know I needed to go to the hospital. I couldn't go empty-handed. So I go to Walmart, not even knowing what I could spend my $27 on. And I got her this Tigger doll and a balloon, hoping that that wasn't too immature for a 3rd grader. You know, they're pretty big time at that age. So that fast forward like 4 years later, our town had a tornado go through, and unfortunately this little girl's house was right in the path of destruction. Oh, no. And everyone was okay and everyone was safe, but I got a phone call 2 days later from her saying that they had found Tigger. And so for her to be in junior high,
it's like heartwarming.
Yes. And so I always knew that I wanted to become a teacher to make a difference and to have an impact. But I think that was the first moment that I completely fell in love with teaching, knowing that my impact lasts far longer than the 170 days that I spend with them or through any content that I teach them. So yes,
that's such a beautiful story. And I bet everybody out there who's listening along can think of their own, how I fell in love with this profession story. I think I was a little, I loved the work. But I don't know. I remember the day that I think that I really fell in love with that energy, right? When you know that you've connected with kids. And I kind of had, some stories my first year of teaching, but I just have this really vivid memory of an 8-hour class, my second year of teaching. We were teaching Lord of the Flies. I had this student who was generally pretty quiet, and we're kind of at the end of the book, and like out of nowhere, she just like takes a stand, and I don't even remember the words that she said, but I remember she made everybody in the class like just be quiet. She totally commanded the entire class. And I just remember being so proud of her. Her mom happened to be a teacher in the building. And I remember as soon as class got over, I ran down to her mom's room and I was like, you can't believe what your daughter just did. She's amazing. And I think kind of like you, that there was that feeling inside, that sense that this is just bigger than me.
Yes.
It's just bigger than me. And I think that so much defines what people love about this work.
Exactly.
Yeah.